Questions 1 through 10 on the 2011 Grade 10 AMC 10A. A cell phone plan costs $20 each month, plus 5 cents per text message sent, plus 10 cents for each minute used over 30 hours. In January, Michelle sent 100 text messages and talked for 30.5 hours. How much did she have to pay? She pays $20 for the basic rate of the plan, then 100 for each of those texts, and each of those costs 5 cents, so 0.05. And then how much did she go over 30 hours? Half an hour, right? Which is 30 minutes, because we have to calculate this rate by minutes. So 30 minutes times 10 cents for each of those extra minutes. So that is the formula. So that's going to be 20 plus, let's see here, 100 times 0.05 is 5, and then 30 times 0.1 is 3. So 20 plus 5 plus 3 is 28. And therefore, number 1, the answer is D. A small bottle of shampoo can hold 35 milliliters of shampoo, whereas a large bottle can hold 500 milliliters of shampoo. Jasmine wants to buy a minimum number of small bottles necessary to completely fill a large bottle. How many bottles must she buy? Well, 500 divided by 35, let's see if that divides evenly, and it doesn't, right? It's like 14 point something. So she obviously will need at least 14, because 14 times 35 will get her up to 490. And then, of course, she'll need one more to get over 500. Won't be at exactly 500. She'll be at 525, right? But she definitely will have enough shampoo to fill the 500 ml bottle. So 14 plus 1 extra bottle, so 15 is the answer to number 2, which is choice E. Suppose AB denotes the average of A and B, and ABC denotes the average of ABC. What is this figure? Okay, first let's figure out that one. 0, 1, and these square brackets is, according to their definition, the average of those two numbers, which is a half. And then let's figure out that one. That, according to their definition, so the average of these three numbers, 1 plus 1 plus 0 divided by 3 this time, and that would be 2 over 3. So substituting these findings into this big thing right there, that's going to be, let's see here, 2/3, 1/2, and of course don't forget that 0. And this is, of course, by definition that they gave the average of those three numbers. So 2 over 3 plus 1/2 plus 0 all over 3. So, of course, get a common denominator, and that's going to be 4 plus 3 over 6. Invert and multiply, 1 over 3. So that is 7 over 18. And therefore, number 3, the answer is D. Let x and y be the following sums of the arithmetic sequences. X is equal to 10 plus 12 plus 14 all the way to 100. And y is equal to 12 plus 14 plus 16 all the way to 102. What is the value of y minus x? Well, we can just do it there. Y minus x, so they've lined it up for us really nicely. It's going to be 12 minus 10, which is 2, right? If you do y minus x. 14 minus 12, which is again 2, and then 16 minus 14, again, that's 2, and then all the way to the end, 102 minus 100, which is 2. So obviously it's 2 plus 2 plus 2. Our task, of course, is to figure out how many of those 2's. Well, you can look at either one, either x or y. That one is basically, obviously, every second number, 10, 12, 14, and so on. So we didn't start with 2, 4, 6, 8, but we just jump all the way to 10. If we had started from 2, 4, 6, 8, and went to 100, it'd basically be all the even numbers to 100, and that's 50 numbers. But we didn't count those first 4, so it's really 50 minus 4. So it's really 46 numbers that are here. And very similarly, that's also 46 numbers. So what we have is 46 of those 2's. So our total would be 46 times 2. And that is, of course, 92. So number 4, the answer is A. At an elementary school, the students in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade run an average of 12, 15, and 10 minutes per day, respectively. There are twice as many 3rd graders as 4th graders and twice as many 4th graders as 5th graders. What is the average number of minutes per day by these students? So we got 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade, and they are running 12, 15, and 10 respectively, average per day. And then they tell you that you have twice as many 3rd graders, blah, 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 right? So we can just write that in terms of x, 2x, and 4x. That would satisfy that there's twice as many 3rd graders as 4th graders, and then there's twice as many 4th graders as 5th graders. Okay? So now we have to figure out this whole average, and that can be calculated as follows. 4x times 12 plus 2x times 15 plus x times 10. And then as always, to get the average, you have to divide by the total, which would be 4x plus 2x plus x. And that's going to be 48x plus 30x plus 10x, and then all over 7x. So that looks like here 48 plus 30, 78 plus 10, 88 all over 7x, and then of course as the x's cancel and you get 88 over 7, a rather strange number, but it doesn't matter because it is one of the answers, and that is choice C. Set A has 20 elements and set B has 15 elements. What's the smallest possible number of elements in A union B, the union of A and B? Well, these are interesting questions. Those are, Venn diagrams. Perhaps by grade 10 you've heard of these. And generally speaking, you've got something like this, right? So this is 20 and this is 15. So I'll just give an example. Let's say this is 16, and this is 4, and this is 11. So that means that everything in this circle adds up to 20, which it does. 16 and 4 is 20. Everything in this circle adds up to 15, which it does, because 4 plus 11 is 15. And if I asked you, what is the intersection? Well, what's common to both? 4. And what's the union, which is the entire? That would be this whole thing. And the whole thing in this case is 16 plus 4, which is 20, plus 11, which is 31. So in this case, the union is equal to 31. What they're asking for is what is the smallest possible. I just gave an example to illustrate what this is like. The smallest possible union happens in a cool scenario is that when the smaller one is inside the bigger one, like that. So this is 15. This whole thing is 20. So this is 5. Does that make sense? The smaller circle is B. It has 15 elements. Fine. The bigger circle is there, and that has 20 elements. And it definitely has 20 in this case because 5 plus 15 is 20. But what is the union in this case? Well, the union is what's common. What's common is 5 plus 15. So as you can see, the smallest union is when set B is entirely inside set A. And in this case, that would be 20. So number 6, the answer is C. Which of the following does not have a solution? All right, let's go through these. The first one, of course, if you take the square root of both sides, you just get that, and of course that leads to x equals -7. The next one, this means absolute value. So if you take the absolute value of any number, it will be positive. So you have some positive number, whatever it is, plus 5 has to be 0. And that's impossible, right? Because if you take a positive number and add 5, it will be a positive number. So this is what cannot have a solution. And all the other ones you can really do really quickly. You just put that on the other side, square both sides, and you get minus x is equal to 4, and therefore x is negative 4, right? That's definitely a solution. This one, root x is equal to 8, square both sides, and you get x is equal to 64. This one is interesting. Again, very similar to b. If you take the absolute value of that minus 3x, you'll get some positive number. And then you subtract 4. Can you get 0? Sure. If this was 4, and then you subtracted 4, you would get 0. So that one would be able to get some sort of a solution. The only one that's impossible to get a solution for is B for number 7. Last summer, 30 of the birds living on Town Lake were geese, 25% were swans, 10% were herons, and 35% were ducks. What percentage of the birds that were not swans were geese? Let's just say there's 100 birds. That means geese, there's 30. Swans, 25. Herons, 10. And ducks, 35. So they're saying what percentage of the birds that were not swans, so we don't want to talk about swans, just these guys. Of these, what percent were geese? Okay, so 30 is geese, and then the denominator in this case will be the sum of these three. And the sum of those three looks like 40 plus 35, which is 75. So 30 over 75 is the answer, but they want that in terms of our percentage. So divide top and bottom by 15, and you get 2 over 5, and 2 over 5 is 40%. So 8, the answer is C. A rectangular region is bounded by the graphs of the equations y equals a, y equals minus b, x equals minus c, x equals d, and where a, b, c, and d are all positive integers, positive numbers. Which of the following represents the area of this region? So let's draw a quick graph, and then we'll talk about this. So the key thing, in my opinion, about this question is that they're all positive integers. That's very helpful. So we'll try y equals a. B is a positive integer. So, for example, it's 3. So y equals minus b would be y equals minus 3. So it would be below, right here. And then, similarly, x equals d is going to be here. But x equals minus c. C is a positive number. So if it's minus c, it would be over on this side somewhere. So let's now label this. Y is a, so this is a right here, this point. Minus b, so this is minus b. And then d is here, and then, of course, minus c would be here. So just with our letters, we can easily figure out the area of this rectangle, length times width. The length, whatever the length is from here to here, let's say, that's the same as from there to there. It's obviously d plus c. And then the width, which is, say, from there to there, is obviously a plus b. And that's it. And I think they want you to expand it, so that's going to be AD plus BD plus AC plus BC, like that. All pluses. And the one that matches is choice A. A majority of the 30 students in Miss Demeanor's class bought pencils at the school bookstore. Each of these students bought the same number of pencils, and this number was greater than 1. The cost of a pencil in cents was greater than the number of pencils each student bought, and the total cost of all the pencils was $17.71. What's the cost of a pencil in cents? So let X be the number of students that bought pencils, and X is less than 30. Because they're saying not all the students, but a majority. But it's a majority. So what I think that means is that X is greater than 15, right? I mean, that's the definition of the word majority, greater than half. Now let's label N to be the number of pencils that each student bought. And finally, I'll just call P as the price of each pencil. And they tell me a few things here, that the number of pencils that they bought is greater than 1. So n is greater than 1. And then they tell me the cost of the pencil was greater than the number of pencils each student bought. So that means P is greater than n. So these are our parameters here. And then the number of students times the number of pencils each bought times the price for each pencil. If you do that, x times n times p, it's going to equal 1771. I'm going to convert that dollar amount into cents, since the cost of the pencil is given in cents. So we have to somehow figure out this with these parameters. Seems like impossible, right? Because, I mean, you need at least 3 equations if you have 3 variables. But the good news is that we can factor this and sort of figure this out like that. 1771, now, okay, how does that factor? And we're not allowed to use a calculator either, so it's more of a hassle than anything else. But if you factor this out, it's 7, 11, and 23. Those are the prime factors. And that's really nice because we got 3 prime factors and we got 3 numbers. So I'm assuming that these match. One is x, one is n, one is p. Okay, well, x is between 15 and 30, so obviously x must be 23. So now p is greater than n, so p obviously must be the 11 and n must be the 7. So it's a cool little question. And therefore, what do they want? The cost of the pencil. So they were asking for p, and p is 11 in cents. So number 10, the answer is B.